December 15th, 1944. At the height of World War II, the most famous musician in America climbed aboard a small military airplane. He wasn't heading into battle. He wasn't flying over enemy territory. He was simply traveling to Paris for a concert. Less than 2 hours later, he was gone. No distress call, no witnesses, no wreckage, no bodies, nothing. Even more disturbing, the US military didn't immediately tell the public. For days, one of America's biggest celebrities had simply disappeared. And nearly 80 years later, nobody knows exactly what happened to Glenn Miller. Before rock stars, before pop icons, before stadium tours, there was Glenn Miller. His orchestra wasn't just popular, it defined an entire generation. Songs like In the Mood, Moonlight Serenade, and Chattanooga Choo Choo became the soundtrack of America during its darkest years. Millions listened, millions danced, millions remembered home through his music. But when World War II erupted, Miller made a surprising decision. Despite being in his late 30s and already a millionaire, he volunteered for military service. Instead of entertaining civilians, he wanted to boost the morale of Allied troops. The Army approved. Soon, the Glenn Miller Army Air Force Band was traveling across Europe, performing for thousands of exhausted soldiers. For many of them, these concerts were a brief reminder that life still existed beyond the battlefield. By December 1944, Allied forces had liberated Paris. Military leaders wanted Miller's orchestra there immediately. His job was simple: fly from England to Paris, prepare for a series of Christmas performances. It should have been one of the easiest flights of the war. But that afternoon, England was covered in bitter winter weather. Temperatures hovered near freezing. A dense fog hugged the countryside. Pilots debated whether flying was even safe. Some missions were delayed, others were canceled. Yet one small aircraft still prepared for departure. The aircraft was a small single-engine Nordine Norseman. On board were only 3 men: Pilot Flight Officer John Morgan, Lieutenant Colonel Norman Basel, and Glenn Miller. At around 1:55 p.m., the plane lifted off from RAF Twinwood Farm. Its destination, Paris. The route crossed the English Channel, a relatively short journey. Under normal conditions, the flight should have taken less than 2 hours. Instead, the airplane vanished. There were no radio calls, no reports of trouble, no emergency signal. The aircraft simply disappeared into the fog. Military officials launched searches. Pilots flew the route. Ships scanned the channel. Rescue teams searched coastlines. Nothing. No floating wreckage, no oil slick, no life jackets, no bodies. No confirmed crash site has ever been found. It remains one of World War II's most enduring aviation mysteries. So, what really happened? Over the decades, dozens of theories have emerged, but 3 stand above the rest. The 3 shocking theories. Theory 1. Friendly fire. This is perhaps the most fascinating and surprisingly believable theory. That same afternoon, hundreds of British Lancaster bombers were returning from an aborted mission over Germany. Because bad weather prevented them from reaching their targets, many still carried live bombs. Landing with full bomb loads was dangerous. So pilots followed standard procedure. They released their unused bombs over designated dumping zones in the English Channel before returning home. Years later, several bomber crews recalled seeing a small aircraft flying below them through gaps in the clouds. One navigator even claimed that moments after the bombs were released, the smaller plane disappeared. Could Glenn Miller's aircraft have accidentally flown beneath a rain of Allied bombs? Historians have never found definitive proof, but the timing, the location, and eyewitness accounts make this theory surprisingly compelling. Theory 2. Mechanical failure and a military cover-up. The Norseman aircraft already had a questionable reputation in freezing weather. Its carburetor could ice over. Its engine could suddenly fail. If that happened over the icy English Channel, the pilot would have had almost no chance. Many aviation experts believe this is actually the simplest explanation. But then another question appears. Why wasn't the truth immediately released? Some historians argue that military officials feared announcing that America's biggest entertainer had died in a preventable accident involving military equipment. During wartime, morale mattered. Losing Glenn Miller was already devastating. Admitting it may have been caused by poor planning or faulty equipment could have been even worse. Was information quietly withheld to protect public confidence? There is no conclusive evidence of a cover-up. But the delayed announcements and missing documentation have fueled speculation for decades. Theory 3. Secret capture or assassination. Then there's the most controversial theory. Some believe Glenn Miller never crashed at all. Rumors spread after the war that he had secretly reached France, where he was either captured by German agents or became involved in a classified intelligence operation. Others went even further, claiming he died under mysterious circumstances in Paris and that the military invented the missing plane story to hide the truth. These claims have appeared in books, documentaries, and conspiracy theories for years. But despite all the intrigue, there has never been credible evidence supporting them. No official records, no verified witnesses, no physical proof. It's a theory built almost entirely on unanswered questions. Still, when a famous person vanishes without a trace, people naturally search for extraordinary explanations. Nearly 80 years have passed. Technology has advanced. Thousands of shipwrecks have been discovered. Yet Glenn Miller's final resting place remains unknown. Maybe his plane rests quietly beneath the cold waters of the English Channel, waiting to be found. Or maybe history has never told us the full story. Did the military quietly cover up a tragic mistake? Was it simply a heartbreaking accident? Or do you believe something else happened entirely? Let me know your theory in the comments. And if you enjoy untold historical mysteries like this one, don't forget to subscribe. Because sometimes history's greatest stories are the ones that never found an ending.